Well, we got the job done. We may have suffered relegation after our first 14 matches with the team, but we marched on back, a record 3 losses only in the championship. We took the title. We are back in the Premier League. We have a very talented young team that I think could compete for probably a mid-table finish in the Premier League, but that is not enough for us. So it is time to rebuild Fulham for the Prem. Welcome back, everyone, to episode number 64 of Bottom to the Top. Thank you very much for joining us on this journey. I'm Mr. Cellophane. We are in this, well, hasn't opened yet, but the summer transfer window is nigh upon us. We finished our season in the championship with a record 113 points, a record 3 losses, and we are charging our way back into the Premier League. We did earn a number of plaudits for our team, the first of which, Jadon Sancho. Arsenal won the Premier League after knocking us out of the FA Cup. I think they won that too, if I'm not mistaken. Now, Jadon Sancho, when we loaned him out, we had a provision in his contract that if he played 30 matches for Arsenal, they would buy him for £74 million, and we would be rid of him. After 30 matches, he played 28. I guess the Cup and the other Cup and the Champions League, well, that didn't count. So we are going to need to move on from him. Did a quick little look, checked with the AI to see what our best 11 was, and Sancho isn't in it. Not that I want to keep him around. I know there are certain members of this community that are like, I can't believe you and kept Jadon Sancho for as long as you did. Believe me, he is on the top of my list, just like he was last year. I feel like I run into this issue in Football Manager where I decide to move on from a player, and then the moving on part just is more difficult than I anticipated. We ran into it with Jadon Sancho. We're running into it with Teo on the Twitch save. Believe me, I'm hearing the message loud and clear. It's just a matter of, can we make it happen? We are keeping our eye on a 19-year-old from Aston Villa. He's got a relegation release clause. Villa is no longer going to be in the Premier League. They have been sent down to the Championship for the 2030-2031 season. Gregor Muirhead, 19 years old, stands 5'10", 160 pounds. Decent midfielder. He would be an improvement over Filippo Ranocchia and Jacopo Fazzini, according to our scouts. He is a good player now. He could be an even better player, although he is somewhat close to his potential. He is very versatile. He can play anywhere up front. His first touch is amazing. Great technique as well. He's got a decent amount of pace and acceleration, I would say above average, so that's very good. The only thing he can't do is head the ball, but we've got other guys for that. Tom Burford was named the Championship Player of the Season, 35 games, 21 goals, 8 assists, and a 7.4 average rating for the 19-year-old. Now, there is interest in him. Everton, I know, is considering putting in a bid. I think Real Madrid wants him as well. I'd love to keep him. I mean, he's 19. He's still got potential left over. He was amazing for us. Scored 21 goals, added 10 assists in all competitions. I mean, honestly, he kind of fell off in the Cup, but I don't remember if we played him a ton. If we were winning matches, we would pull him out fairly early. Currently has a value of 45 to 54 million. He does want a new contract, but part of that contract would include a 42 million pound release clause. I think we can get more for him than that if we are to sell him. Hopefully, we don't have to. He also scooped up the award as the Sky Bet Championship Young Player of the Year. Vladan Kovacevic won the championship Golden Glove. 42 appearances, only conceded 38 goals, kept 17 clean sheets. I think that 7.01 average is a little bit low for what he added to the team. Now, he is rated as a very good championship player by our scouts. We may need to improve in goal. Kovacevic, though, right now, in my opinion, it is his job to lose. He just did too good a job for us. We'll see how things go in the preseason, in the early going, to see if we're going to bring in another maybe more seasoned Premier League goalkeeper, but Kovacevic at 32, he's just hitting his stride. And we seem to be collecting these. Manager of the Year goes to our very own Nick Bottom. 46 matches, won 76% of them. Most of the rest were draws. As we mentioned, only 3 losses in the season. 5 if you include the FA Cup semi-final to Arsenal and the third round of the Carabao Cup to Manchester United. 1-0, it still haunts me. 5 of our players made the team of the year, including Kovacevic, Harvey Vale, Matty Pollock, Daniil Denisov, who when we entered the season, I was like, he's kind of good, but maybe we still need to upgrade. He'll be our backup. He was absolutely amazing for us on the right wing side as our right back. He made 33 appearances in the championship for us, 31 of them starts. He scored 4 goals. He assisted on 14 with a 7.25 average rating. We are going to hopefully carry that success into the Premier League. He is on our list of players that we want to keep on this club. Also added on that list is Andre Lucas Gudjonsson. I would be remiss if we did not talk about this young man. We brought him in. Guerrero was going to be our starting striker at the tender young age of 18 years old. We decided he may not be ready to play all of those matches. We wanted to get somebody in with a bit more experience. We turned to Gudjonsson, and all he did was score goals. 36 appearances in the championship, 23 of them starts, 20 goals, 4 assists. He added another 5 goals in 5 matches in the FA Cup, 2 in the Carabao Cup. He even scored for Iceland in the World Cup qualifiers, 4 goals in 8 matches for his country. He turned out to be an amazing player, awarded with the Team of the Year striker position. Tom Burford wasn't the only one that was gaining plaudits for his play as a young player. Marko Tomasevic, who we loaned out to Hearts this season, we picked him up for $3 million. He's worth about 20 now. He's a right winger. We do not play with wings. Made 32 appearances, 3 goals, 2 assists for Hearts, and he was named the best rookie of the year in the Since Premiership. Also, the Young Player of the Year award by the Scottish Football Writers Association. So, Tomasevic, it may be time to cash in. Unfortunately, I'm starting to question my coaching staff. They made a couple of recommendations for staff members that would be excellent additions, and I agreed. Michael Baker, a 49-year-old recruitment analyst. Also, Jay LaFay, a 38-year-old scout. Both of them accepted offers from other clubs. Both of them Baker, I think they both accepted offers for less money than we were willing to give them. Kind of disappointing, I gotta say. I mean, we do have the best staff currently in the championship. We'll see how this rates when we get to the Premier League. So it's not like we are really losing out, but it would have been nice to improve things just a little bit. We're constantly looking to move onwards and upwards. This is a small way we could have done it. Hopefully we can continue our good run of form from the championship into the Premier League. We were first in XG, the first in actual goals scored per game, which outperformed our expected goals, which is nice. First in clean sheets with 18. Second in expected goals against per game and goals conceded per game. Again, a number that we outperformed. Second in shots on target. Third in fouls made per game. Fourth in fouls against. Which means we need to take a hard look at our squad. We are about 2 weeks out from the turnover of the season and the opening of the English transfer window. Have a whole list of players that are probably going to be moving on, including Matty Pollock, Brian Meyer, Verbancic, Nathan Wood, Agard. His contract is going to be running out. He's 34 years old, I think going on 35, still playing for his country in the World Cup. So you got to give him that. But I think he played 1, maybe 2 matches for us all season long. Egan Riley is probably going to be moving on, maybe trying to cash in on Isaiah Fitzpatrick. Alex Iwobi, we've already agreed to a deal, so on July 1st, he is out the door. I think £5 million is what we were able to get for him. Also, Josh King, a young player who we had in our defensive midfield for a while in the latter portion of the season, just we're not sure if his potential is really going to go there. And then there are those guys that we have that are really good championship players that could potentially translate into Premier League players, maybe for kind of a backup, including Aurelia Menda, Ethan Allen, Nate Allen, I don't remember his name, Allen, who is a backup left back, Zidkika Chandler, and Sally, who's going to be coming back from loan. So a lot of guys that we could potentially look to move on as we look to bolster our squad. And Jadon Sancho, I don't know if he's going to be here or not. We'll find out. I do so love this time of the year when the first new signings start to roll in. Player I am very excited about, a 20-year-old striker out of Argentina. He was playing in the Mexican League. It's Gabriel Amaya. Cost us just £5 million from Atlas. And our coaching staff doesn't like him nearly as much as our scouts did when they originally found him. We thought he'd be really full of potential. I mean, he has quintupled his value just from walking in the front door. So very excited to see what he can do. We may need to move on from Andre Lucas Gudjansson, to be perfectly honest with you. There is some interest in him. He's probably at the highest value he ever will be after his 20-goal championship season last year. We think that Amaya could slot in. His physicals are absolutely fantastic. I mean, he could be a little bit faster, but I mean, we're being nitpicky at this point. He's got decent technical ability. Again, only 20 years old. So we are very glad, at the very least, in a backup position, to welcome Gabriel Amaya. We also shelled out £1.5 million for Korean Kim Young-suk. He's a young 18-year-old midfielder, probably going to transition him into that more defensive midfield because he's really suited for that playmaker role that we have been playing that was occupied by Craig Ross, Antonio Blanco last year. Blanco's still on the team. Obviously, Ross was a loanee from Everton. We haven't been able to secure a more permanent deal for him. Only standing at 5'6", so the physicals aren't really there. He's got a little bit of speed on him. Not great. He's just a good overall player. We've had our eye on him for a while. We've loaned him back to Suwon for the remainder of their season. So once he joins the team mid-October, early November, we'll really get a better idea of what we got. And by the way, just in case you're curious, no, your eyes are not deceiving you. In between the last section of the video and this one, where the season is starting to turn over as we're about to enter the Premier League, I did alter my camera settings a little bit so you don't see as much of the stuff behind me. So I actually had forgotten that a couple of the players that I listed earlier as most likely leaving the club are already leaving the club. Nathan Wood, who we loaned out to Southampton, we also, part of that deal, we agreed to a mandatory £11 million fee, so that transfer is going to be completed on July the 1st. Also, Stelios Andreu, I kind of wish I could cancel this. He's going to be joining Leeds for $27.5 million, which is well below his current value. Unfortunately, it's already signed, sealed, and delivered. Glenn Allen, one of the players we also mentioned earlier as probably keeping, but maybe moving on. He's got a lot of interest in him currently. Everton and Ajax looking for his services. He's valued between 40 and 46 million pounds as kind of a baseline guide for our scouts. Right now, he's just a championship level player. He could continue to develop into more of a Premier League stalwart. Do we cash in on him now? I mean, we got him for $4 million. He's capped 15 times for Northern Ireland at the age of 21. I'm wondering if maybe we don't have a potential hidden gem. Although he's not as great with the ball, he's more of a defensively minded guy. Maybe he doesn't really fit into our mold in the same way that, say, Harry Vale does. Or maybe even Neil Coulter, who we've also thought about maybe. What do we do? We also have the young Sebastian Gutierrez in there. But Gutierrez, right now occupying an ESC slot, work permit. You know, that also is telling me something, that he's got some work permit issues. Glenn Allen could be on the block. All right, we have put in a bid with Everton for Craig Ross. A deal that could go up to $27 million. I think like 13 up front. They're insisting on another 9.5 down the road. Maybe some other add-on incentives. We haven't figured it all out yet, but we have I have decided that Filippo Ranocchia, his time here is done. Ian Sterling, Joe Jones, they're young. They're not ready yet. They're most likely going to get loaned out for yet another year. So Antonio Blanco, Dare Akande, and hopefully Craig Ross will be our primary defensive midfield rotation for next year, assuming we can get him back. All right, so it begins. The first of what will most likely be many offers has come in for 19-year-old Tom Burford. This one's from West Ham. It is a guaranteed $20.5 million with incentives that could take the deal up to $44 million, including a 20% percentage of any profit from the next sale. I think that this offer is, if you want him, $60 million minimum. Well, $60 million was kind of dead on. I decided to just kind of feel out what the asking price for Tom Burford would be. $62 million is right before where he starts going, yeah, I think that's a little high. So my valuation was pretty good. I'm actually maybe getting a little good at this football manager thing. Shh, don't tell anyone. My whole shtick is how I suck and know nothing about the sport. But Burford ultimately doesn't want to leave. He'd rather have a new contract, so we're going to feel him out and see what that would be. We're probably going to have to make some playing time promises, which I feel kind of good about, honestly, especially since we're making sure that Jadon Sancho is going to be gone. We're going to be streamlining the club a little bit. Not as many matches, 38 versus 46 in the Premier League and the Championship, so we're not going to need to rotate through as much. We're not in Europe, so we don't have to worry about those competitions. And the Cups, frankly, right now, don't care. Just looking to make sure that we stay in the Premier League. We don't want to go hog wild with anything. But Tom Burford, 19 years old, if we can get him on a better contract, we might even be able to get his value up as well. So it could be a win-win for us and him and the future. Win-win-win. I don't remember what the details were, but we already agreed to a new contract with Tom Burford somewhere earlier in the year that was going to kick in June 30th. We'll see what it is. Honestly, when all is said and done, we've decided to stick with the devil that we know. $17.5 million up front, another $9.25 over 2 6-month installments. Craig Ross is joining us from Everton for a total fee of £27 million. Obviously, it hasn't gone over the finish line. We've agreed to it with the club. We've agreed to personal terms, I believe £26,500 a week with a 10% increase each and every year for 5 years, plus a 2-year option for the club. The 22-year-old going to be in our defensive midfield for the next 7 years. 21-year-old Neil Coulter is going to be going out on loan to Oxford United for the year. Got a little bit of a fee for him. I mean, he'll be back. He's 21. Just needs a bit more seasoning. He's not quite Premier League ready. Jadon Sancho is still officially on loan with Arsenal, so we can't really try to gauge his want around the league or the world. So I thought, oh, maybe we'll look at the future transfers. Maybe Arsenal's just going to keep him. No, he's not on the list. So we're not being too disheartened because the transfer window doesn't really officially open up until July the 1st. We have not gotten any offers in yet for Marko Tomaszewicz. He's wanted by a ton of clubs, including Real Betis, Norwich, Sunderland, PSV, Rangers, and Alaves. He really wants to go to Real Betis, but even if we've offered him out for below his value at $15 million, no takers as of yet. So we may need to be a little bit patient. If we have to loan him out for another year, then we have to loan him out for another year. But I don't see him playing for Fulham. Bristol City have had an offer accepted for 19-year-old winger James Banks. Don't remember this kid primarily because he's a leftover from one of the other times that Fulham was in the Premier League. Made 0 appearances for the club, so guess it's all profit. We did put in a bid for Gregor Muirhead. He's extremely interested in joining us. We were not going to pay his full £27 million release fee, however. So, yeah, our offers thus far haven't really gone through. In fact, they've been flat out rejected by West Ham so far. The only offers they have received, however, are loan deals. I don't know if there are future transfers involved with that. Maybe we go down that same route. We're going to keep trying. I do think there is some value in him, even though he's not like tip top on our list. But if we can pick up another young, talented player in the midfield, we play with 5 midfielders, really can't hurt. In fact, we are going to go back in. We offered 25% of the profit of the next sale and $9.5 million. We'll pop that up to $13 million and see what they say. We tick them off enough where they're not going to give us like an instant result to the negotiation. So time will tell to see if Gregor Muirhead is going to join our small cadre of college-age kids that are going to be leading our team into the future. Of course, we aren't ruling out just like stockpiling all of our cash. I know we love like collecting like these young players. There are a few that we may be able to parlay into additional cash. Maybe we just splash it on a big fancy left back, center back. I mean, Harvey Vale is good. He's gotten better. Is he the best? Daniil Denisov, ton of interest in him. We can get 35 million pounds, which would be a massive return on that investment. Can we improve at the right back? Center back. We can always improve at center back, especially because our best center back is Andreu, and he will be gone, even though we didn't really have him last year either. And our 13 million pound bid for Gregor Muirhead has been rejected. Why would they accept the loan offers? He has a relegation release clause. I just don't think he's worth 27 million pounds right now. Then again, he very well might be, and maybe this is the punt that we just take. They rejected our attempt at 13. We just took off the 25% of the future sale and set it at 25. Not quite the release fee, but you know what? 25, it's a good number. You're not getting 25 from Spurs. Tried to loan out Roman Egan-Riley. Now, to be fair, each of those deals included a future transfer fee between, I think, like 7.5 and 9 million pounds. He has decided he wants to stay at the club, and he has rejected them. So I guess Egan-Riley's staying at the club. Pisa have made an offer for Jurgen Strand Larsen, $7.75 million up front with installments of an additional $14 million. Doing some quick math, that's about $22 million. He's valued at $45. He doesn't want to go. It ain't worth it. More offers coming in for James Banks, so we're actually going to try to offer him out. He's got 8 clubs interested in him. We have already gotten the Bristol City offer, their bid in. Derby and Middlesbrough are also in. He really wants to go to Reading. They do have some interest along with Charlton, Hull, Rotherham, Swansea, West Brom. The entire championship basically wants this 19-year-old. I don't know what they see in him, but we're gonna offer him out. See if we can get anything. They rejected our bid of $25 million. They really want that extra 1.5, I guess. So fine. Maybe if I had made it non-negotiable, they would have gone straight ahead. 2 contracts have been offered on James Banks at $550,000. Both have been accepted apparently by the board on our behalf because it's more than his valuation. So what we are going to do is we're going to see if we can get more. Lock it in at 6.25. Our offer has, of course, been accepted for Gregor Muirhead. Now, there is some interest in signing with us. We're about to negotiate our personal terms. He would rather sign with either Brighton or Real Madrid. Both are interested in him, but right now, it's us, Spurs, and Fiorentina. Now, Fiorentina is going to be a Champions League team. They did make it in on coefficient from Serie A, so that could make it a bit more enticing. Spurs are Spurs. He is currently on £34,000 a week. Wants to be a regular starter, moving up to important player. Let's just see if we can leave him at regular starter. Wants to treat the club as a stepping stone. I don't have to promise him that. If he's going to do it, he's going to do it. We don't like promising positions, just in case. Challenge for a domestic cup, sure, we'll do that. He's fine with what we're offering him. Hopefully we can maybe bump him down a little bit there. Let's try to get him a little bit cheaper, not than what he's making right now. 5-year deal looks good. Assist bonus is fine. We'll even leave the 10% yearly pay raise in there as well. Now he's insisting on a minimum fee release clause of $42 million. I mean, I'm just spending money on you. So we're going to go up to 50. That is the max. Also, 25 million release clause for relegation. Honestly, if he can't keep us up, it's less than we paid for him, though. Kind of upsets me, but also that is absolutely 100% locked in. He still wants 40. 37. And now the minimum fee release clause is locked in at 42. 37 for 5 years. You got yourself a deal. Probably should have added in some additional option years, but I don't know. Really didn't like that negotiation. Not sure he's going to be around by the time he's 25. Kind of feel like we're doing a lot more business, or at least trying to get more business done than usual before the transfer window opens up. The thing is, we've got like 20 some odd players, a good number of whom we are going to be looking to move on, that are currently out on loan that we can't do anything with till they come back, obviously at the end of June. So I think we're going to need to mash continue a couple of times, and I'll see you in July. Now, I have been trying something a little different with this transfer special, which you can imagine takes quite a bit of time as you go through months of gameplay. There's scouting to be done, negotiations that need to be handled. So I just realized it's 25 minutes into this video, and we still have not yet actually hit the transfer window itself. And we will get there in just a minute. But it is now the 25th of June, and we are officially back in the Premier League. We're going to take a look at what that means in just a minute as far as an initial look at the media predictions for the upcoming season. But first, the board want us to meet to discuss potentially expanding the number of recruitment analysts available to the club. Maybe we'll see if they'll do something different. Let's see what happens if we disagree with them and see if the money could be better spent elsewhere. How would we want to spend the money? Well, see, I hadn't thought this far ahead. Looking at the options, I mean, I kind of like where we are now. I haven't run into an issue with any of the staff members we've tried to hire about not being able to give them enough money. So let's see if they'll give us more. I'd like to discuss a new contract instead. Oh my goodness, I did not expect that to work. Having considered what you have to say, we are willing to cancel our plans and carry out your suggestion instead. We'll get started on your proposal right away. I guess this must be just a generic response because it doesn't say anything specifically about a new contract for us, but I'll take a new contract because we took a wage cut when we got relegated and it didn't return to its previous level when we got back to the Premier League. Now, to be fair, when we took the job, we were still dealing with money in terms of euros, so the number's always less when you're dealing with pounds sterling. We took the job for 32,000 euros a week, if I'm not mistaken. However, we agreed to, or maybe it was 35, but we agreed to like a 40% wage cut if we got relegated because we were being cocky and we didn't think it was going to happen. Well, now we are back in the Premier League only making £17,750. So I think we actually made the best decision. Brighton have come in from Muirhead. 22 million up front with the potential of raising to 28 million. We had to make that release clause offer. So if they've accepted this one and Muirhead ends up going there, I'm not going to be happy. Manchester United have made an approach for one of our scouts, 71-year-old Rudy Zbinden. Pretty solid guy. Has knowledge of basically most of Europe, North America, South America. Well, okay, the United States, but really North America. Who are we kidding? I think we're going to need to offer him a new contract. Hopefully a roughly 50% increase is going to do the trick. Of course, maybe not the best player to re-sign him for 4 years. He is currently 71 years old. Alrighty then, the Premier League fixtures are out and we are opening up our season on the road at St. Mary's, taking on the Southampton Saints, a team that took us to penalty kicks in the FA Cup last year. Then we have our home opener against Sheffield United before going away to Newcastle, home to Spurs, and then we go to Bramley-Moore Dock for a little, well, we don't need revenge because we beat them in the FA Cup last year, but we did get trounced the year before at Bramley-Moore by Everton. So, yeah, revenge. We head to Stamford Bridge to take on our rivals in Chelsea on September the 21st. They return the favor on February the 8th, and we finish off the season in mid-May against Burnley at Turf Moor. Fulham have offered us a new 3-year deal at way less than we were making when they first brought us on, so we're going to try to pump that up a little bit. Let's ask for $27.5 with a 35% drop should we get relegated again. All right, they came up to $23.5. Not terrible. $26.5, $23.5. Let's go just even $25,000. $23.5. I think this is, can we get another year at $23.5? Nope. £23,500 a week to extend our contract until June of 2033. The answer to the earlier question is £58,000 a week. That is the new 5-year deal signed by Tom Burford that is finally taking into effect. The 19-year-old is now going to be with the club until the end of 2035 at the absolute least. That wage will go up to $70,000 after he makes 5 international appearances. If he's making 5 international appearances, it will have been worth it. Neil Coulter also had committed to an earlier deal. I forget about these things as you play through 46 games and all of those cup matches. He agreed to be a squad player. We are loaning him out, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember from earlier just in this episode, for this year. But the 21-year-old also signed through the end of 2035. Now, a bunch of automatic wage increases have kicked in now that we have moved into the Premier League, either because they were annual increases built into contracts or promotion wage increases. So we are now currently spending little under 1.9 million of our £2,375,000 weekly wage budget. Still have a transfer budget of nearly 38 million, 78 million-ish in the bank, so we are still very solid financially. But where does the press think we're going to finish up this year? 12th. You know what? I'll take that. Most newly promoted teams are usually destined for the prediction of being relegated. Sunderland, Norwich predicted to finish 18th and 19th respectively. Sheffield United, they also think is going to be heading back to the championship. We do not have any players in the Media Dream 11. That really doesn't surprise me, but a mid-table finish for our first year back in the Premier League, I will take that any day of the week and twice on Tuesdays. Gregor Muirhead has gone to Spurs. On loan. I have a new mission. To be fair, Spurs are being chosen for a European position. Last year, they finished in 4th place, so they're going to the Champions League. I get it. We just will need to beat him now. Every time we play them. I mean, they are another London club, so of course we want to beat Spurs anyway. I mean, city pride for the badge and all that, but they poached our wonder kid. Just one day remaining before it officially becomes July 1st. We're getting there, I promise, but a lot of the guys whose contracts were either ending or had previously agreed to deals are coming through. Now, the fans obviously don't understand how football works because we agreed to sign Stelios Andreu when he had a relegation release clause after we got relegated from the Premier League because we were up and then down and then up and then down and we are back up now. So yes, he was an important player with the club. However, he wasn't even with us last year and only averaged while he was out on loan, but $27.41 million to Leeds. We have, of course, confirmed the signing of Craig Ross. They're pleased that such an important player was brought in on a regular basis, permanently. Like that, $26.5 million to Everton. We agreed to keep him on as one of the conditions when we first joined Fulham Football Club, but we have decided to part ways with our director of football, Tony Khan. The search for a replacement will begin. We're also getting rid of Tim Maynard, who was a physio, only making $1,400 a week. Didn't really have the skills necessary for the Premier League. Also, Luke Harris, his loan has finished. Andrew Jocelyn as a coach, he was good but not great. We're going to be looking to replace him as well. And Naya Figuered, he is back from Cagliari, and his contract subsequently has expired. The 34-year-old center defenseman who did not play more than 2 games for us in our entire time with Fulham is headed out the door. Also leaving the club, a couple of players. Luka Vrbancic, we talked about him a little bit earlier. Luke Harris, Fenton Rick, Brian McKee, Eric Harrington, Devin Paris, and Stacey Borlase. Their contracts have all come to an end. Few youth players, including Kelvin Otu, Fatmir Dasi, and Ali Oldham, have not secured permanent contracts after their youth contracts have expired. They have also left the club. Still waiting for it to tick over to July 1st. I promise it's coming really soon. I came to realize it is summer and it's 2030, which means it's a World Cup year. And right now, Jadon Sancho is out representing jolly old England. I feel a little bit dirty trying to sell him once the transfer window opens while he's out representing Crown and Country, but just a little. We are finally here, and Nathan Wood is officially a Saint. 11 million added to the kitty. Taking a look at our finances, our transfer budget now back up to 55 million. I think that may include the 5 million we're getting for Alex Iwobi. We'll just have to check. Only 85% of the transfer revenue is being made available to us. We probably need to change that. However, our board is too busy considering giving us more coaches, physios, and scouts. Hey, they're happy with our run to the title in the championship. I'm going to ride that for as long as they keep agreeing to give us stuff. They already gave us a new 3-year deal. See what else they'll do for the club. And there it is, officially. Alex Iwobi, the 34-year-old veteran midfielder from Nigeria, has been sold to Mallorca for a fee of £5.02 million. Naya Figuered, as we mentioned, left on a free. He is going to be signing with Sparta Praha. Made sense. He was a fringe option. He wasn't playing, and he wasn't going to get a work permit to stay anyway. Dave Charlton is joining Slaven Belupo. Didn't we lose to them in the Europa League when we were with Qasim Pasha? I'm pretty sure our first time in Europe, Slaven Belupo. Well, they can have the 20-year-old striker on a free. He wasn't going to make the grade here. Best to just let him go. A couple of other moves of youngsters who just were not going to see any time with the first team, at least while we were here. 18-year-old center back Gareth Young leaving to Larne, signed on a free. Also, Joe Phillips, a 20-year-old striker. We've got plenty of strikers. We have plenty of 20-year-old strikers, and we have plenty of 20-year-old strikers who are a lot better than Joe Phillips. He's off to Barnsley. Again, free transfer. Oh, I know this is going to disappoint so many members of the community when they see this, but Jadon Sancho is officially asked to withdraw his formal transfer request. Sorry, Jadon. Request rejected. In fact, we have offered him out. We're asking for $67 million, which is way down from what he was worth before. There is interest from Lille and Inter, although primarily in a loan deal. I really don't want to do another year of that. Napoli may take him because they think he'll improve the overall quality of the squad, but we have not yet received those offers. The reality is his wage demands are still much too high, so my advice, please, Jadon Sancho, get out of your own damn way, man. More importantly, you have to let us move on. And this Sally got a work permit. I was kind of hoping he wouldn't need to try to move him on, but just cost us money to do it. Although that does free up an ESC slot should we need it. Although all of the youngsters we brought in so far have been granted a work permit to work in the United Kingdom. So, I don't know, we find somebody else, I guess. That being said, I would not be averse to moving Enes Sally along. We loaned him out because we weren't using him. He had fallen down the pecking order. Yeah, he's fallen even further down now. And it may be less money than we wanted, but the day has finally come. We've gotten an acceptable bid in for Jadon Sancho, £67 million from Napoli. We're accepting it. He wants to go there. We will continue to offer him out, see if we can maybe pump that fee up a little bit, but $67 million, a far cry from the $100 million we thought we might have gotten upon relegation, but beggars can't be choosers. We want Sancho gone. Up until 3 seconds ago, he didn't want to be here anyway, so Jayden, babar. We finally got our man in scout Jay LaFay. Only took some other team going in for him before we were like, okay, fine. If you were going to sign him to a new deal to prevent him from coming to us, yet you're going to accept bids from other teams, we're putting in another bid. And this time it was one that could not be refused because they just gave him a new contract and they couldn't do it again. I'm getting shrewdly petty in my FM negotiations in my old age. I've taken a quick peek at our squad depth. We're still waiting on a ton of offers out to be responded to, but thinking that maybe Kovacevic, after a 1-0 friendly loss to Celtic, may not be the man moving forward. Kovacevic was fantastic for us in the championship. He does have potential. I mean, he doesn't really have potential at the age of 32, but he could maybe be a backup at the Premier League level. But should he be our number one? I'm not sure. So in that respect, we are kind of keeping our eye out for guys that maybe want to move that have that experience. And Kelleher, don't ask me to pronounce his first name. I don't remember what it is. He wants out of Liverpool. He made 54 appearances for them over his career, only conceded 46 goals. And if you look at a direct comparison with Kovacevic, pretty much ticks all the boxes. Same shot stopping, better distribution, same aerial, a little bit lighter on the mental side, but he's faster and more physical. Yes, he's slightly more eccentric as well, but kind of want that in a goalkeeper. We lose 2 inches in height. We gain a little bit in girth. I think that he would be a good addition. We're going to throw a little bit of a bid in. His guide price is 19 to 27 million. We're going to see if we can get him for like 15 if we can. That's a good deal. Hopefully we can also get Kovacevic to agree to be, the backup. And honestly, if Kovacevic doesn't want to stay around as a backup, assuming that we sign Kelleher or somebody else, maybe Marcel Lotka out of Club Bruges would be a potential replacement. I mean, he is kind of a star player in Belgium right now, so I'm not 100% sure what it would take to bring him over to jolly old England, but he stacks up to Kovacevic. Maybe not as good on the shot stopping, but he's faster. He's just as good in the air, better distribution, better communication. Okay, maybe it's 6 of one, half dozen of another, but I think Lotka would be cheaper, and we'd be able to get him for less than maybe we could sell Kovacevic on for. The day has arrived that you all have been waiting for. Jadon Sancho is signing for Napoli. £67 million is the fee. As soon as I hit this little yellow button right here, it's over, and we get another $54 million to spend. Oh, wait, you thought I wasn't going to push it? Bye, Jadon. And believe it or not, that was the first time in FM24 I sold a player for more than $50 million. Okay, this list is way too long for us not to be getting any viable offers for Jurgen Strand Larsen. He's worth over $40 million. We offered him out for $30. Nothing came in. We're getting a lot of feedback that teams will pay like $18 million for him. I mean, $18 million. Jurgen Strand Larsen is actually still a pretty good player. A 6'4" striker, complete forward. He can play a deep line forward, advanced forward. He can do whatever you need him to do. He's making $105,000 a week. There it is. He wants way too much money. I mean, we paid $25.5 million for him. We were hoping to ship him out. There was an agreed upon optional fee to $40 million that Pisa just didn't want to pay after his loan spell. Maybe we suck it up, but we will keep trying. Marko Tomasevic is joining Jadon Sancho in greener pastures. No, he's not going to Napoli. He's signed for Brentford, $11 million up front, another $3 million once he plays 50 matches for the club, plus 30% of any future sale. Best deal we could get for him. I laugh at Nottingham Forest for going with Alex Pastore over us. That could have been the job that we got, but we ended up at Fulham because Forest said thank you, but no thank you. They've already parted ways with Pastore and have now hired Daniel Farke to take over. So since we've been at Fulham, we've gotten relegated and come back up, and we have been in the job longer than 2 other guys. Rudy joined Man U. about 1,000 more a week than I was offering him, so fair play. Well, Kelleher is not going to be joining us. We came to an agreement with Liverpool, but apparently we're not big enough for him. So, yeah, we're not. Yeah. And we thought that may be a possibility, so we have now turned our attention to a 28-year-old Croatian international. He's camped 18 times for Croatia. Nikola Savlina. What is it with the Slavic guys? But if we compare him with Kelleher, kind of the same-ish. And if you compare him with our good friend Kovacevic, yeah, I definitely prefer Savlina. Kavlina? I'll figure it out eventually. He does have major reservations about negotiating terms, but we really, really need ourselves a new goalkeeper. So we're going to ask him to be a star player for us, and we're basically going to give him whatever he wants except for a 10% sell-on, because I think we may be able to get him for money later on. 115 grand, 23,000 for an appearance fee. What's he say? He has agreed. 5 years. Nikola Havalina, assuming he agrees, got ourselves a new keeper. We're just a little over 2 weeks away from the start of the regular season, so let's see where we stand. We've sold £136 million worth of players. The latest, Enis Sali, on his way to Royal Sport Club Anderlecht in Belgium for £14 million. We picked him up on a free, so $14 million in profit on that one. Joe Jones, Billy King, and Ahmet Kukoc Petreo all going out on development loans. Kukoc Petreo probably has the most potential of all of them, but I still not 100% sure he's going to factor into play for us. We have managed to get a couple of deals over the line of incoming players. We haven't spent nearly as much as we've made. We picked up Teta Kishida on a free out of the FC Dallas Academy. It seems like every year we pick up somebody from one of the MLS academies. Looks to be a decent player already. He's got some potential. Right now, not sure if he'll be a Premier League player, but we got him for free. He's already worth about $10 million, so I will take that any day of the week and twice on Sundays. Yeah, I take things twice on Tuesdays and Sundays. Not 100% sure if I made that joke on stream or earlier in this episode. I mean, we've been recording for quite some time. Marvin Akahomen, I seem to have a thing for young Swiss center backs. The countryman for Aureli Amenda is a physical specimen, standing at 6'2", 180 pounds. He is fantastic in the air. He's got speed. He's got great acceleration. He is a good Premier League player as well, or at least he has the potential to be at 23. I'm not sure how much he has left to grow, but we will definitely see. 10.75 million from Basel. He's already worth like 25. So again, if he or any of these other players don't work out for us, they will hopefully add to our coffers while we look for somebody who will. Someone like Nikola Savlina, the Croatian international, we talked about him a little bit earlier on. He has agreed to be our starting goalkeeper. A fee of $30 million up front. It could raise with incentives as high as $36 million. As you can see, he's already worth a lot more than that. We still have to have the conversation with Vladan Kovacevic about being the backup now. If not, we'll look to sell Kovacevic on, obviously at a profit, and Brian Mayer is going to be our backup. I'd rather it be the other way around with Meyer in reserve as a third string, but we'll see how that works out. And we still have about 75 million or so left to spend. Thank you very much, Jadon Sancho. We're trying to move on from Jurgen Strand Larsen, so that will add even more money. Do we add another monster, all-star, all-world center back, left back, right back, midfielder? I don't know. We are going to keep all of our options open. We'll find out how that turns out in Monday's episode. Thank you all for joining me. We're going to start our season off at St. Mary's against the Southampton Saints as well. Plus, still plenty of time left in the transfer window. July's not even over yet. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Make sure you hit a big fat like on the button. Drop a comment below. Let us know what you thought about this transfer window. I know it's a bit of a longer one. You've got the entire weekend to digest it. Thank you very much for spending the time to watch, and I'll see you on Monday. Until then, bye-bye.